My name's Angelica Salas, and I came to this country when I was a little girl. I was 4 years old, and I came to be reunited with my father and my mother who had come earlier. They came to this country undocumented, and my sister and I arrived here undocumented. We lived many of the challenges that immigrant families face. We certainly lived immigration enforcement. We lived a lot of the challenges that immigrant workers have to face, especially my mother working in the garment industry and my father working in construction. What I know is that my family, with all its struggles, had lots of hopes for the future, and they especially had a lot of hope for me and really fought for an opportunity for a better life. So I began working at CHIRLA when I was 24 years old, right after I graduated from college. And I really wanted to honor the sacrifice of my parents. I wanted to make sure that families like mine, that workers like my father and my mother had a chance in this country. And it's been an honor to serve my community. I believe that this is an incredible organization that allows us to advance rights for our community, both at the local, state, and national level, that we're able to provide services that are much needed, especially in terms of immigration legal services. Really, we also engage our community so that they see the power within themselves and that they can advocate just for a better future for their family. CHIRLA is the Coalition for Humane Immigrant Rights. It was founded in 1996 to advance the human and the civil rights of immigrants and refugees. Our mission is to create a just society fully inclusive of immigrants. And the way that we do that is by advancing policies at the local, state, and national level that protect those rights. But in addition to that, we provide massive community education so people know their rights, the resources that are available to them, but also their responsibilities. And part of that responsibility is to be engaged in your community, to become organized and advocate on behalf of your family and for the needs that you deserve. And many times you have the solutions that are going to make all the things that you want better and materialize. The other thing that we also do at CHIRLA is promote civic participation. That's part of the responsibility. And in that, we promote the idea that you have political power. So we help individuals register to vote, become educated about what are the policies that are in the ballot, but also who's willing to represent you and respect you when it comes to elected officials. And finally, it is so important for our community to understand that you have power. And so this is one of the reasons that CHIRLA is very involved in the promotion of civic participation in the 2020 elections, but also in making sure that you're counted in the 2020 census. From CHIRLA's perspective, it is so important that Latino and Latina community participate in the 2020 census because the census determines what are the resources that are available to our community. Our participation in the census means that each one of us are counted for resources that are redistributed to our communities. That means that this is the way we determine how much money is available for our schools, for books, for the buildings. It determines what's available to fix our roads and our infrastructure. It determines how much is going to be invested in hospitals and in clinics. These are all things that we need day to day. If we're not counted, that those resources do not arrive. And so what we want our community to understand is that their participation matters. And it matters now and it matters for the future. What CHIRLA has been telling our community, especially our immigrant community who's undocumented, is that you count too. That as immigrants, we are contributing to this country, we're paying taxes, and those resources need to be reinvested in our community. The other thing that's important is that the census is absolutely confidential, that your information will not be shared with any other federal agency, and we have worked with our representatives to make sure that that is the case. But you need to understand too that your children are growing up in this country. They need all the resources so that they can have a better future. They need those resources in their schools, and they need those resources in terms of services that are available to them in terms of health care. And we want to be able to be counted. Many times we're seen as invisible, but we're not. We're here and we're contributing in every single way. The 2020 elections are so impactful for the Latina community and the immigrant community. It is our vote that's going to determine who are going to be the nominees for the presidential race in November. It also determines really what kind of future are we going to have in this country. The past, we've seen attacks to the Latina community, to the immigrant community. What we have seen is our children who have been held in detention centers. We have seen a lack of respect for Latinos and their many contributions over many generations to this country. But we can change that. We can change that with our vote. We can change that by really exercising the power we do have and demanding that we have elected representatives that see us as part of the United States, that really see that we all belong. And for us, it starts with our making ourselves count and making ourselves count at the voting booth. It is crucial for the Latino community to exercise the right to vote, because their vote is going to make a difference at all levels of government. At your local, state, and federal offices are going to be determined by your vote. And it also is important for major ballot initiatives that are making decisions about how we're going to spend our tax dollars. And I believe our vote is going to choose a future that is more hopeful, that is more inclusive, and that is more recognizing of everything we are to this nation. We matter to this nation, and our vote shows that power. The We Chant, We Count, and We Vote festival was really an opportunity of collaboration with Fiesta Broadway and CHIRLA to go to our community where they're at, where they're filled with joy, where they're listening to their favorite artists, and that they listen to those artists, but they also get a message. And that message is that they also want the audience to be counted and to participate, and that they're part of being ambassadors for a better future for our country. So we believe that music is so important to our community. It brings us joy, it brings us together, and so by uniting this important message of the census and participation in voting is really to show unity within the Latino community. So individuals who come to the festival come from all walks of life, all ages, and from all different Latin American countries to listen to their favorite artists. So we also want to demonstrate that unity in our, within the Latino community, that together we're powerful and together we can create a better future for ourselves and our families. We matter for this country. It is so important that we participate in the census for 2020 and that we participate in our elections for November of 2020. We're going to be a determining factor as to whether we move forward for progress, for a future that's inclusive, where our children have an opportunity, where they see themselves as belonging. And so we have a lot of power. Let's exercise that power. To our brothers and sisters who are immigrants, we say we can create a future through our participation where we can have immigration reform, where people don't have to live with fear, where our children are not in detention centers, but instead they're playing in playgrounds and in schools. That's the future that we could create, and that's why it's so important for us to participate in Census 2020 and to participate in the elections as well. We matter for this country, we count for this country, and we together can build a better future.